Nah, that's a Klingon greeting.
Why's that, Scotch Trekker?
Because in this episode we delve into the Klingon Empire for the lowdown on some exciting news. It's a good day to die.
Kapla!
So I recently discovered some evidence that suggests the Klingon species will return in the fourth season of Star Trek Discovery. Actor Adam Winlove-Smith is due to play a character referred to as Principal Klingon in that upcoming season, apparently. What do you think of this news?
This is very exciting news. First series of Discovery had this new look Klingons, and they were a big shock to Star Trek fans when we looked at their actual look. We went from lots of hair and forehead ridges to greys and blacks and almost purple coloured skins. The ridges went all the way back on their heads, round the sides, and actually not a scrap of hair this time. Quite divisive among Star Trek fans, but very exciting news for us that they're coming back in Series 4.
Yeah, indeed. I was remembering how when they first appeared in the first and second seasons of Star Trek Discovery, the show was set in the 23rd century, chronologically between the shows of Star Trek Enterprise and the original series. So the differences in makeup was really quite controversial for fans, like you were saying.
It was controversial for fans, so what did you think of that?
It didn't really bother me that much, apart from the fact that in the fourth season of Enterprise, they had sort of established a reason why the original series Klingons look different from basically all the rest.
Mr. Worf?
They are Klingons, and it is a long story.
What happened? Some kind of genetic engineering? A viral mutation?
We do not discuss it with outsiders.
And
Yes.
it seemed like they were sort of interrupting that connection, disrupting that connection a bit by making them look different.
Is he shushing you?
Well, on the other hand, there are clearly like multiple houses of Klingons, like Klingon houses. There are multiple reasons why the original series Klingons might look different. There's all these different possibilities.
If you take aside the look of the Klingons in Discovery, what you've got is characters that are really well-rounded in Discovery. They're not just one-dimensional characters, which we did have in a particularly obviously in the original series. They were just anti-tribal bad boys of the galaxy.
Another glorious chapter of Klingon history. Tell me, do they still sing songs of the great tribal hunt?
Whereas even when you look at some of the DS9 episodes, they are just merely warriors.
We Klingons have a reputation for ruthlessness. You will find that it is deserved.
When you look at somebody like L'Rell, she's trying to bring together Klingons. She's a diplomat. She's a diplomat who'd be prepared to sort of rip your head off, but she's still a diplomat, and she is not purely warrior. So they gave this extra dimension to Klingons. I liked that about Discovery. They've made them more of a fully rounded alien rather than a sort of sidekick.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
Not that Worf's a sidekick.
If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand.
There's a couple of times that I noticed in TNG that he's quite, I can't do that, I'm Klingon. I that's against my principles, I'm Klingon. But he was raised on Earth, he had Starfleet training. Sometimes it was for the sake of the TV program that he made a few lines.
For what we consider love, sir, I would need a Klingon woman.
So I did like the Klingons on Discovery. So quite excited about series 4.
Okay, cool.
Also, we've got changes in how a lot of aliens have been portrayed on the screen. So even from how Worf started in TNG, if you look at the first episodes and how he looks at the end of DS9, he looks very, very different. You look at how Trills are portrayed, you look at how Cardassians are portrayed. As different episodes move on, how different series moves on, the aliens, as the special effects moves on at Paramount or whomever's in charge at the time, they are going to get better costumes and special effects. So it's going to, we would not stand here in 2020 for somebody with a curly mustache and a waistcoat and say, well, that's obviously a Klingon. So, yeah.
Although I thought they did that sort of quite well in the Affliction Divergence two-parter and Star Trek Enterprise's 4th season, where some of those Klingons look really quite like they did in the original series, because they don't have the head ridges and stuff like that.
How do you expect us to return home looking like this? We will be outcasts. There will be no place for us in the Empire.
Your heart is still Klingon.
We've become like them. Weak, cowardly.
That was very clever how they did that storyline.
Yeah.
My Targ won't even recognize me. Millions of my people will have to live with this disfigurement. It'll be passed on to our children. Life won't be easy for us.
In the future, it may be possible to reverse the cosmetic effects.
Perhaps cranial reconstruction.
I have a feeling that's about to become very popular.
Over the 1st and 2nd seasons of Star Trek Discovery, not only were there changes in Klingon makeup, but the storyline, of course, also changed. Whereas the war between Starfleet and the Klingons was heavily featured in the show's 1st season, the Klingons were portrayed, in my opinion, as generally more conspiratorial and scheming in the 2nd season, right up to their appearance in the season 2 finale, Such Sweet Sorrow Part 2, in which they actually fight in collaboration with Starfleet to defeat the malicious AI known as Control.
Klingon Empire will always fight to preserve our future. Works for me.
So which do you prefer, the depiction of the Klingons in the 1st or 2nd season?
I think it has to be the 1st season. I thought that whole story right at the beginning of Discovery with the Battle of the Binary Stars, I just thought all that was just such a good story, and how the houses were coming together and how they were, with Giorgio being killed. I thought that storyline was just edge of my, I was totally on the edge of my seat.
Scanning for database recognition. Iconography confirmed. Klingon.
I'm Commander Burnham of the United Federation of Planets.
So yeah, I'd have to go on that one. What about yourself?
I think I preferred the 2nd season.
Okay, why is that?
It seemed more to me like they were a bit not as rounded in the 1st season. We're like more one-dimensional, I would say.
Okay.
Because the war is going on. But also, I remember when I watched the Vulcan Hello and Battle of the Binary Stars, and my theory at the time was that the leader of the Klingons, D'Kuvma, was actually not dead, and the episode only made you think that he was, because Klingons have redundant organs.
Yeah, it's good that we've got a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the Prime Timeline, the latest development for the Klingon Empire was defeating the Dominion, claiming victory alongside Starfleet at the end of the Dominion War in 2375, as featured in Star Trek Deep Space Nine series finale, What You Leave Behind. The latest we see any of the Prime Timeline Klingons in the flesh, so to speak, is in live action, the Star Trek Voyager episode Prophecy, set in 2377, and in animation, the 2nd and 3rd episodes of Lower Decks Season 1, which are entitled Envoys and Temple Edict, and are set in 2380. Chronologically, the latest the species has been depicted in general has been in an alternate timeline in the Enterprise episode Azati Prime, in which they're said to have joined the Federation by the 26th century.
The Federation. You've mentioned them before.
Vulcans, Andorians, Ithanites, Klingons, dozens of species.
Now, Discovery's third season has jumped ahead to the year 3189. So in the fourth season, would you prefer to see the Klingons in a peaceful or opposing relationship with the Federation?
You definitely want them on your side. You look at TNG when, I think it was in Unification 1, doesn't Picard try to discuss with the Klingons to get a Klingon warship to go over to Romulus to be able to find out what's happened with Spock? Yeah. And he keeps contacting them and saying, oh, do you remember me? Do you remember me? I'm your mate. Remember me? And they're like, oh, yeah, sorry, he's ever so busy. Garon's such a busy guy because, you know, he's like a hero and everything.
I regret to inform you that Garon and the High Council are quite busy and won't be able to speak with you today.
Well, that's sort of like repaying a favor sort of thing to do with the Klingon Civil War. And I was remembering the Klingon Civil War that's featured in Redemption, the Redemption two-parter.
We are at war.
And you see them like clashing, banging heads together and stuff like that. They were doing it recreationally.
Yeah.
When we meet in battle, we will fight to the death. But here we're all warriors, all Klingons. It is a time to celebrate. For tomorrow we all may die.
When it's in DS9, when Cisco, Odo, O'Brien, and
maybe Worf. Yeah, Worf.
Yeah, of course, Worf. They go and I do believe they're going to a ceremony, aren't they? And it's the day before the ceremony, so they're all drinking the blood wine, and they're clashing. They're singing the songs. I mean, that's the proper sort of Klingon way. They drink the blood wine, they sing the songs, they have a fight. You know, it's that sort of. Like you say, it's all done for a bit of fun when they're celebrating.
Yeah. I was remembering obviously like how they obviously have sex is quite vicious as well.
Yeah, because they both end up in with Bashir, don't they? When he finally hooks up with Jadzia.
What happened to you two?
We,
Well, if you must know,
No. I don't need that image either. In fact, I'm going to stop asking that question altogether. People can come in, I will treat them, and that's all.
Or in Prophecy, Neelix ends up having destroyed Tuvok's quarters because she bites him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the female Klingon will bite the male Klingon to say that she's interested.
Is that a bite mark? One of the Klingons attacked me. Did you do something to provoke him? Not him, her. And she wasn't provoked, she was aroused. Ah.
Which, again, in Voyager, when the Vulcan Vorik is going through Ponvar and tries to mate with B'Elanna.
I should also remind you that many humanoid species are unable to withstand Klingon mating practices.
Okay, that's enough.
Whereas my superior Vulcan strength would make me a very suitable partner.
She then tries to mate with Tom, and she bites him.
B'Elanna! What is wrong with you?
And you see it on the Next Generation as well, when Kayla and Worf are getting together before she has Alexander.
You don't have to act like a Klingon glacier. I don't bite. Well, that's wrong. I do bite.
Yeah, a little bit violent, that, isn't it?
The actor is apparently due to play a Klingon in the fourth season. He's been in Discovery multiple times before. He first appeared as a Sentinel Klingon in the show's first ever episode, which is called The Vulcan Hello, and as a stunt double for actor Shazad Latif playing the Klingon Volk in the show's second installment named Battle of the Binary Stars. Winlove-Smith also played a Klingon in the first season Discovery episode Choose Your Pain, as well as a Kelpian villager in the Star Trek Short Tracks episode The Brightest Star. The fourth season of Discovery started filming on the 2nd of November 2020. Consequently, it seems pretty likely that it will be the next live-action Star Trek to debut in 2021. But when exactly? Well, if filming on Discovery's fourth season wraps in January, which is possible, it might be released as early as March or April 2021. Season 4 could even be part of the relaunch of CBS All Access, which is due to be rebranded as Paramount Plus and be available internationally rather than just in the States. Whatever happens, I for one am very much looking forward to the rest of Discovery.
Cannot wait. I mean, I'm really enjoying this series. So I was really excited when I heard that the fourth series was taken and that they'd started filming.
Cool. That just leaves me to say thanks very much for watching. In the text below, I'll post a link to the webpage where you can find a listing of Adam Winlove-Smith as playing a principal Klingon in Discovery next season. Tell us in the comments what you think of this news. Are you excited about it? Or have you maybe seen enough of the Klingons for the time being? Whatever your reaction, please let us know in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe this video. We'll see you next time on the Scotch Tracker. Kapla.
Plate full of live gawk sounds pretty good right now.
I'll make a Klingon of you yet.